If you're going to go into foster care, you need to do it for the right reason. The right reason, I believe, is you've got to give them the love you would give to any other child. Treat them equal as your own children.
Foster caring is the care we provide for children who can't live with their own parents through no fault of their own. So there's different types of foster care. There's respite care, which is short-term care, weekends or school holidays. There's permanent care. Permanent care really leads to restoration or a permanent home for life. There's emergency care, which is short-term care from 1 day to a week. And then there's medium-term care, and that's when we're looking for a permanent option for a child or young person. This resource is designed to help you understand the different types of care that are available for you to do, and also it gives you an opportunity to hear from real carers who have had real experience as carers, and you can understand what the challenges they've navigated and what the great benefits of being a carer are.
You don't by any means think to yourself, I'm going to adopt this kid because I want another child. You have to think, I am doing this because a child needs a good, solid family unit, love and support and a future. And if their biological parents can't provide that for them, then that's what foster caring is about.
My parents just couldn't look after me. They just didn't have the capacity and the resources really to give me the life that I deserved. My foster parents really wanted to make sure that there was no barrier. And I think it was really important from my biological mum and dad's perspective for them to know that this family can take great care of me.
It's not as hard as people might think. You've just got to know your circumstances and what you can fit in, and if you're willing to do that and get something in return in terms of what they get out of it and seeing the progress and seeing their smiles, I think it's very worthwhile.
As any foster parent, you have to get past that first question of what happens if I have to give the child back. That's what you sign up for. You sign up to clothe, house, and importantly, love the child whilst they're in your care for however long that will be.
I think the most important thing for people to know is that there are a lot of children out there, little ones, big ones, teenagers, and they just need a chance. And if you can give them that chance, then, maybe this is something you should do.
As long as you have the love to give, everything else will just fall into place.
The primary goal of foster care is restoration. Restoration is where children who have been removed from their parents through no fault of their own are restored home to mum or dad, or mum and dad. Primary goal of foster care is restoration, and that is helping mum and dad who may have had their child removed work through the issues and the vulnerabilities that they had that led to removal, providing wraparound support so the child can safely go home and mitigate any child protection risks.
I was 14 when I was pregnant with my first son. I always wanted to be a mum young because I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. I had no idea what I was doing. I was only a baby myself. Being a mum, all you want is to be a good mum, right? That's what you want as a parent. You just want to be a good parent. I was always like, I don't need anyone to help me. I've been doing this myself. It was kind of like a wake-up call, like, oh, you've just had your kids removed, so obviously you're not doing a very good job. Maybe you do need help.
I think a lot of people think, that they're all bad parents that have children taken away from them. But that's not really the case. It could be a sickness, a mental health issue where parents just weren't able to look after their children in a way that they should be. These aren't bad people. They're just people that can't cope with the day-to-day life and stresses of having children.
Think of restorative care through the eyes of the birth parent. They're really putting a lot of trust in somebody. They're putting some faith in that restorative carer that they're going to show some empathy and show some compassion and understand that anybody could end up in this situation. They come from all walks of life and they just need a chance. They need somebody that's willing to support them and that's willing to believe in them and have faith that they can get there.
Foster care is not a one-size-fits-all. Some people are able to provide long-term care, some people short-term care. For others, they might only have a weekend or a few days spare every month, and that's where immediate care or emergency care comes in. Emergency care or immediate care is where a child or young person's been removed from their family and they need an immediate placement, and that immediate placement can be from 1 day up to 3 days, or perhaps a week at the outside, and then they move on to their long-term placement.
I do short term until mum and dad are able to have the children back or until they go into long-term care. So I've had bubbies for a weekend and I've had them up until 18 months.
It's hard to say goodbye, and people say to me, I couldn't do what you do because I couldn't let them go. The aim is for children to go back to their parents, if at all possible, and if that happens and they can go back to their birth parents, that's a great thing. If they can't go back to their parents and they go to long-term families, then I like to think that I try and make that process as easy as possible for the children.
The goal of foster care is restoration. However, where restoration is not an option, then we look for a long-term care option. Long-term care options take the form of open adoption or guardianship or long-term foster care. Your permanency planner will help you work through those options and will find the right fit for you and the right fit for the child in your care.
We've now been doing the foster care for over 20 years, and we started off where we just did weekend respite for parents, and we did that for a few years. So then we've just done the full-time foster caring.
In 12 months, we went through the adoption process. Did we adopt you?
Yeah. Did adopt me.
And did you want to be adopted?
Yes.
As part of the permanency pathway options, open adoption and guardianship are two really important options. Open adoption and guardianship provide a permanent, loving, safe home for life for children so they have certainty in their future. What they also do is allow birth family to have an ongoing role in a child's life. So carers need to have a positive regard for birth family, and birth family need to have a positive regard for family, so we all work together in the best interest of the child.
We have our little 3.5-year-old, and we've had him since he was 2 weeks old. We have started a bit of a relationship with his parents to help us understand his cultural background and have that connection for him to know his birth parents, which is very important. Georgia, who we've had since she was 16, she has become our full-time daughter. There's no foster in it now. She's our daughter now.
I'd always lived in houses, so now I have a home. I don't think you can put into words what I've learnt from them, but everything they have taught me I would definitely take into starting my own family.
Probably within the first 2 years, I think we thought if it does proceed to adoption, we'd be really happy. If it doesn't, well, then it doesn't. We've provided what we could for her for as many years as we could. We decided to let Bella make that decision as she got older, and she said, yes, I think I would like to be adopted legally.
They always knew that I was going to get adopted, but they didn't want to force that onto me. When I was 15, I kind of just had a moment where I realised that I don't think I could do life without this family. I said, hey, I love you guys. Can I stay with you forever? So, yeah, we got adopted, and yeah, it was the best decision of my life.
He was always kind of my brother from the beginning. Once he came to us, it just kind of all fitted well, and there was never really like, bang, it happened. It just kind of felt like it fitted together well.
As a child, you go from having 100% of both your parents' attention and love. And I remember it being difficult, but I was old enough to understand what we were doing and why it was important.
It's just something that is worthwhile doing if you can, because it gives the kids a home where they know that they're forever going to be.
I treasure the opportunity to write the next chapter in his life with all of us.
At CatholicCare, we're really passionate about permanent care. The reason we're passionate about permanent care is because it puts the child at the centre of the plan and allows permanency for their life. Even if you don't have the capacity to be a permanent carer or a short-term carer, you may have the capacity to be a respite carer. Respite carers provide weekend or school holiday care, and that gives permanent carers a break and widens the support networks for children.
I was a stay-at-home mum, and we had the room and I had the time. We've decided to do short-term or respite and emergency. The main aim when they first come, and they're only there for a short time, is to make them feel safe.
I think what we try and do here is give the kids a bit of lifestyle to go with the other bits and pieces.
The feeling that we're doing the right thing and a good thing. When you see the kids, they love coming, and when we can calm them down and make them feel safe, that's all I need to see that I've made a positive impact.
Importantly, Respite carers might form part of your current network. They could be your brother or your sister or a friend, and that helps continuity for the child because respite stays within the family unit. If you don't have that in your family unit or in your friends network, we'll find a respite carer for you. Often when people inquire to be carers, they want to be carers for babies or 3-year-olds or 5-year-olds, and that's really important and it's critical we have carers for that group. However, tonight in Newcastle on the Hunter, there are over 30 children and young people living in motels. Those young people who are teenagers are there through no fault of their own, and some of them have been living in motels for over 3 years. It's critical that we as a community find carers who are able to provide a loving, safe home for life for teenagers and help them on their journey to adulthood. At CatholicCare, we really value our carers. Our carers form part of our wider team and part of our wider network. Without carers, we don't have a CatholicCare.
Well, when we first were looking into the fostering, we had a lot of training sessions with CatholicCare, and they were very, very informative, very supportive.
We found the CatholicCare guys really, really good to work with. They're always available, and we've had people roll up at 10 o'clock at night to help us get through things at times, or be available at 10 o'clock at night to help us get through. So it's good to know that that's where it's at, and good to know that whenever we've had traumas or real dramas, that there's things that have cropped up that no one saw coming, you can get on the phone, have a conversation with someone, and someone will get back to you fairly quickly and advise you about what the best way to do it is.
To support our carers, we ensure we provide a whole range of supports. That includes clinical support through our therapeutic specialists, casework support, a permanency planner, and wraparound supports for the carer and the young person. We also provide 24/7 on-call support, and all of our carers are invited to training on a monthly basis, and then we have peer support groups and peer support networks, and carer lunches and carer thank you dinners, and a whole range of events to make sure that carers get peer support of other carers as they go on their caring journey.
It's really helpful and reassuring to have another person on the line that's really ultimately responsible, because I know I'm not in it by myself. I have that backup.
I think it's really important to have a great relationship with your caseworker and manager. You really need people that understand what you're going through. It's very hard for your family and friends who aren't in the carer world to understand, so I think it's very important to connect into that.
CatholicCare's always been really good. Like at the beginning, it kind of felt like a me against them, but CatholicCare was always on my side to say how I was with the boys. It was always really positive. Everything they wrote and everything they did was really positive. I appreciate that a lot.
Becoming a foster carer is a really big decision. If you're ready to take the next step on the journey, please contact one of our friendly staff at our offices. And remember that being a carer can be one of the most rewarding things you can do in your life, as it impacts your life, your families, and importantly, the child or young person in your care.
When you see a child thrive under your care, they might not be your blood, but you're his mum and dad. When you can give them the life that they might not have otherwise been able to have, it makes it worthwhile as well.
When you have them a bit longer, you know them a bit longer, and they start looking at you and talking to you and opening up, that's reward in itself. For me, this is purposeful, and so I'd rather do that than anything else.
Once you get that smile and that cuddle, you know that they know it's a home, not just a house. If you know they're safe and secure, that's the important thing, and that's why I do it.
You get to meet all these children who really are there just because of no fault of their own. They just need somewhere to be and to be loved and to watch them grow and change. That's a really special experience, and it's something that I think a lot of people could do given the opportunity.
For all us humans, that's really what life's about. You need a purpose and you need to do a worthwhile activity, and I feel that this is a really worthwhile thing to do.
You'll get that love back. You'll make a difference in someone's life.